Hey guys, welcome back. Okay, so today we're doing an update to my Blu-ray collection. So I've got a nice big stack of Blu Ray Pickups for you today. Haven't done one of these, I think, since last year, 2024. So it's been quite a while. I like to do these when I've got a decent amount to show you as well. I don't pick up Blu-rays that often these days. It's just the occasional one that I'll pick up. I've really got an urge to watch a film, or I've realised I've got a film that I really want to watch but I haven't got it in the collection, so I want to fill the gaps. And occasionally, if a new film comes out that's really good and I know I'm going to watch it more than once, I will pick it up as well. Unfortunately, last year, the films that came out were good, but there was nothing that really captured my imagination, made me want to buy the discs. But this year, there are a lot of good films, well, at least potentially good films, that I'm interested in watching. So hopefully when I go to the cinema this year, I'll be impressed enough to want to buy them on Blu-ray. We'll wait and see. But yeah, most of this, in fact, probably pretty much all of this, is filling gaps that I've had in my collection for a long time. And there's only one film that came out in the last couple of years. In fact, these are all old films. But, you know, there's some really good stuff here. There's just a lot of it. Right, so, first of all, TV show. So, back last year, I got to a point where I was stuck for something to watch. And I've got it in my head, I'm going to go back and watch Spooks. Now, for the Americans, that's MI5. Really great British TV show set around MI5, and three recruits, Tom, Danny, and the woman whose name I can never remember. And I don't know why, but I'm blanking on it again. But yeah, and it's all about their relationships inside and outside of work, as well as obviously the missions they have to go on to infiltrate different groups and bring them down. And they're led by Harry Pierce, who runs MI5. And it's absolutely brilliant. It's a really good show. So I went onto the iPlayer first of all, just to see if they were there. And as it happened, they had put all of them on there. So I watched the first episode, and immediately I remembered exactly what it was all about and what the episode was going to be. And I got completely drawn into it, and I thought, you know what, this is brilliant. So I thought I'd just have a quick look on eBay. Always a mistake, I know. I'll just see how much the DVDs are, because you can't buy it on Blu-ray. And they were dirt cheap. They were like a couple of quid each. So I ended up buying them all. And I ended up sitting down last year and spending my summer just watching the entirety of Spooks again. So we have, I'll just run through them. Series 1. They're actually quite nice DVDs as well. Series 2. Then we got 3. Which is, yeah, that's where Adam comes into it. Rupert Penry-Jones, phenomenal actor, great character. Really great addition to the cast. 4. Which, yeah, that's when we get, I can't remember what his name, the Asian guy. He was really cool and all. They did him dirty in this show, man. He wasn't around long enough, and I really liked his character. Was he in? No, he was definitely. He came in number 4. We got number 5. We got Roz, another great addition. There's some really good characters in this show. And then we got number 6, and then we get to number 7, where my favourite character turns up, which is Lucas North, played by Richard Armitage, an incredible British actor, still going today. He's doing these Harlan Coben things on ITV, Netflix. I've just got confused because he was also in an ITV show called Red Eye, which was absolutely brilliant. If you've not seen Red Eye, I would highly recommend that. One of the best new shows we've had in the last couple of years. Then we've got, is that 8? Yeah, 8. There's a lot of Spooks. 9. Got to replace this one because disc 2 doesn't work properly. The second episode on disc 2 freezes. Tried it in many different DVD players, Blu-ray players, 4K Blu-ray players, just won't work. So I need to get that replaced. And that was bought sealed as well. There you go. So I've probably got disc swap. Number 10. So yeah, 10 series, a hell of a lot. I sat down and watched the entirety of that last year, and these are not like American shows where they're 45 minutes. These are an hour long. So that's a lot of episodes and a lot of time. But I've got to be honest, I've really, really enjoyed watching this show again. It's been like 20 years since it finished, and it is brilliant. It still holds up. I actually was surprised how much a lot of the storylines, because obviously this was around 9/11 era, so we're talking a lot of terrorism and, you know, the Bin Laden stuff and all that, and a lot of what they talk about in this show is very relevant to the situation we're in right now with the world, and it's really shocking how close a lot of what the things they talk about are to the current situation in the UK as well. Obviously I'm not going to go into politics, I'm not going to do that. But yeah, I would highly recommend rewatching it. It might surprise you, and I was amazed when I was watching it. I really do wish it would get a reboot. There has been talk apparently again recently, but still nothing. So that's the TV show. As I say, it's called MI5 in America. If you want to check that out in America, it's really good. And then I went and bought the film as well. So The Greater Good, Spooks The Greater Good. We got Harry Pierce back, and we've also got Kit Harington playing an MI5 agent. Very good film, very British in the way it looks, which I really appreciated. They didn't over-Americanise in Hollywood this. Very good. It's really just another version of the TV show. It's just a cinematic hour-and-a-half version of an episode. But yeah, great addition to the series. If we don't get a reboot, you know, it got finished after, it got cancelled after 10 season series, it's good to have this film come out. So yeah, really happy to have all the Spooks on my shelf. Now, of course, I know I could have watched the TV show on the iPlayer, obviously, but I like my physical media, as you all know. So I'm really glad to have all of those up there now. I can watch them anytime I want. I've just got to replace Series 9. Okay, so before we get to the films, I've got one more DVD to show you. I picked this up off CEX last year because, to be honest, there was a couple of them on eBay and they were charging 30 quid, and I was like, I'm not paying that for a DVD, even though I want to watch it. And I can't remember, something like 6 quid on the CEX. It was dirt cheap. I know it's a risk because it's probably going to be scratched to hell. It ain't that bad. I mean, it is scratched, but it works. That's all that matters. It's a bit random, but it is the Alien interview from 1997. So if you don't know what this is, allegedly, in 1997, a guy called Victor came forward and alleged that he had sneaked this video from Area 51, or somebody else had done it and given it to him. I can't remember the exact details of how he was very sketchy about it. But this is essentially supposed to show an interview with an actual grey alien from Area 51. It's compelling stuff. It went away for a long time. You know, so it came out in 1997 originally, just after the Ray Santilli released Alien Autopsy, which obviously we all know now is fake. The Alien interview has never been debunked either way. It's never been proven to be true. It's never been debunked and made and been proven to be fake either. It's hard to tell when you watch it. I mean, there's certain things about the footage that creep me out massively. Some of it does look like a puppet, I ain't gonna lie. But then there's other parts of it where it just looks way too real. And I just don't know. I'd love to know the truth. There is at the moment a resurgence in this footage because, as I say, it just disappeared. No one in the UFO community was really talking about it for decades. But now in the last year or so, there's a guy called Jon Stewart, an ex, senator, brain blank. Yeah, an ex-senator in America. He's a bit of an interesting character, and unfortunately this is the problem with the UFO community, especially these days, you get a lot of interesting characters, to put it nicely. You don't get people who are, who come across as, I would say, are very believable. But, you know, he's been resurrecting this because he's trying to get to the bottom of who Victor actually was. It seems to me that I watched something recently in an interview we did on YouTube, on a podcast, and they had a photographic evidence of who he thinks the bloke is that was Victor, and it was quite compelling that he's figured out who Victor was. And quite interesting, apparently he's still alive as well, because back then he did 2 interviews, this one and another further one, and he was alleging that he was not long for this earth, so everyone thought he would have died, but apparently not. If it is the bloke they think it is, he is still around. And, you know, Jon Stewart's on a mission now to try and prove this footage is real or fake, whichever way it goes. He seems pretty open to the fact that it could be true, it could not be, and he doesn't mind finding out that it is fake. He just wants to find out the answers. I don't know, I've watched him in interviews. Sometimes he's okay, but then he just tends to go off the rails quite a lot, especially in long form podcasts. He tends to go off on tangents and he kind of loses me a little bit, but who knows. But the actual interview is well worth watching. It's on YouTube. I'll put a link in the description if you want to watch this. It's absolutely fascinating, I think. Yeah, maybe one day we'll find out the truth. I probably don't think we actually ever will know the truth. I don't think true disclosure, as they call it, will ever happen. I just think it's just going to keep on rolling, isn't it? While there's money to be made, there'll be people milking this UFO community as much as they can. Right, anyway, that said, onto the films. Okay, so first one we've got is a film that this is the most recent release I've actually got, and it is Jurassic World Dominion. So yeah, it's the 3rd one in the Jurassic World series. Came out a couple of years ago, I think. Didn't watch it initially when it came out. I'll be honest with you, I watched the first film. I've got it on 4K. I like the first one. It's a good film. It's not brilliant. It's not Jurassic Park level, but it's a solid film. Chris Pratt's really good. Bryce Dallas Howard is great. There's some good action in it. I thoroughly enjoyed watching the film. Second one, Fallen Kingdom, was shit. I hated it. I was so disappointed when I went to cinema to see that. I remember sitting there watching it. The opening sequence was really good, and I thought, oh, brilliant. This is going to be a good film. And it just went off a cliff and just kept rolling downhill, and it was terrible. And I was so disappointed when I walked out of the cinema. It doesn't happen that often for me, but sometimes I'll go and watch a film and I'll be like, what the hell was that? And that was definitely one of those, which is such a shame. But yeah, Dominion, I didn't watch it when it came out because I thought, what's the point? Fallen Kingdom was crap. But around about the end of 2023, me and my dad were on Netflix around Christmas time, trying to figure out what to watch, as you do, and you know, having that father-son thing where you're debating what to watch, and your dad wants to watch one thing, you want to watch another, and yeah, it becomes a bit of an argument. And so we came across Dominion. I mean, in the end, we just went, that's it. Let's just watch Dominion, see if it's any good. You know, put it on, and I've got to be honest. And after watching it again recently with Blu-ray, I really like this film. It's really good, much better than The Fallen Kingdom. I'd probably say I like it more than the first one. It's probably my favourite of the three. So yeah, I'd probably say this one, then the first one, then Fallen Kingdom. But yeah, the only thing is with this one that I found strange, it feels like it's got a heavy influence from Naughty Dog. You can feel the Uncharted and the Last of Us influence all over this film. It's quite strange. It is like watching a live action video game. It's quite bizarre. It's inadvertently like one of the better video game movies, even though it's not based on a video game. It's quite strange. But yeah, some really good scenes in it, good action. They bring back Jeff Goldblum, Laura Dern, and Sam Neill, which was a nice addition. I didn't know that was going to happen, so that was really cool. There's a lot of nods to the original Jurassic Park as well. Yeah, really fun film. And they're now going to bring out, I think it's this year, there's a new film coming out, which is essentially like a soft reboot by the look of it of the Jurassic World series, with Scarlett Johansson, called Jurassic World Rebirth. I'll put a link in the description for the trailer as well, so you can check that out. It does actually look pretty damn good from the first trailer they put out, so I am looking forward to that. I'm reignited because Dominion was a really good film. I'm actually going to give Rebirth a try, and I'll go and see it when it comes out. Okay, so next film is a classic, one of my absolute favourites. I had this when Blu-ray first came out back in 06, 07. I don't know when this film was actually released on Blu-ray, but when I had it, I used to be a huge conspiracy guy, hence the Alien interview. You know, the 90s and especially the 2000s, post 9/11, I was a super hardcore conspiracy theorist. Yeah, I've grown up a lot since then, but there you go. I was in my 20s. So this film really resonated and I watched it over and over again, and that is Enemy of the State with Gene Hackman and Will Smith. It's brilliant. I watched it again the other week when it came in, and I've got to be honest, it really holds up well. I was actually surprised. The film is great anyway, the storyline is brilliant. The acting is top notch. As I say, you got Will Smith, you got Gene Hackman, Regina King. You know, you really can't go wrong. You've got John Voight. You know, you can't go wrong with those actors. But I'll be honest, it really surprised me because obviously at the time the technology is a lot more limited to what we've got now. This was 1998 when this film came out. And that's one thing I love about it. It's a 90s film. The 90s films are so good when you go back to them. You know, there's no politics, there's no bullshit. It's just a straightforward, good, solid storyline, good characters. You know, it really pulls you in, and you're just there for the hour and a half, 2 hours, and you have a really good time. Unlike a lot of modern cinema. But yeah, the thing that got me the most was that the film. Obviously, he's being tracked on trackers in his outfit, in his clothes. He's got the tracking his phone, all the usual kind of thing, using satellites to show at the time. When you watch the behind the scenes, they really talk about it when they talk to the NSA and CIA about what was possible at the time in '98, and they had the satellites being able to zoom in and take photographs. You know, the whole they can take a photo of your license plate and your car thing. I think, why have they not remade this film? It would be so good now. If you think about what happened, you know, with the technology where we're at right now, it could be a really, really good film if it was written well. Good script writer and good actor and a good director. I just don't understand why it hasn't been done yet. And you know, when you look back at this film, you watch it now, 1998, pre 9/11, and what came afterwards, you know, with the Patriot Acts 1 and 2, the NSA and Edward Snowden and everything that we learnt from that, and now we're carrying tracking devices in our pockets with our smartphones. It'd be an interesting time to do a new version of this film. It was ahead of its time anyway, preempting everything that was going to come. And now we're in a time where it's really impossible to evade detection. So yeah, I think it'd be a great film to remake. I love Enemy of the State. It's an absolute classic film. This next one, not so good. Iron Man 3. So I picked this up because I got the first one. I don't like the second one. I think the second film's terrible. So I watched it once, that was enough. I never bought it. I liked the third one when I watched it, and I never picked it up on Blu-ray, so I thought, oh, I'd get it last year. I thought I'll pick it up, add it in the collection, give it a watch. Yeah, it was better the first time I watched it. The second time watching it, it's not that good. Ben Kingsley's really great in it, and that's about it really. Yeah, I think the first film is brilliant, and that's it. I rewatched the first one before I watched that when the Blu-ray came in, and the first one is still great. It still holds up. I think like Marvel for me, it started really good with Iron Man, and it was just going and going and going. And every time a new film came out, I'd go and watch it and love it. But in the last few years, I've really lost interest. You know, I mean, Shang-Chi, I fell asleep watching that. It was boring. Doctor Strange 2, I watched an hour of it, and it was just a big CG mess, and I couldn't be arsed, so I turned it off. I gave up on that one. What else came out that I watched? I watched Brave New World recently. Everyone panned that. I don't think it's as bad as people are saying, but I don't think it's a great film either. It's a pretty middle-of-the-road average film. Being a continuation, a sequel to the Edward Norton Incredible Hulk, probably doesn't help because people are expecting a Captain America film, but it is essentially Incredible Hulk 2, which is good for me because I love that. It's one of my favourite comic book films. But yeah, it's just a bit of a letdown. And you know, the trailer's showing all the Red Hulk stuff, and really Red Hulk's in the film for like 5 minutes. So it's like, meh, who cares really? Yeah, I wouldn't say not watch it, just give it a watch. It's an alright film for a Sunday afternoon, but it's definitely not of the level of quality I would expect from a Marvel film. You know, films that are coming out, I don't really care about. Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four looks interesting, I'll give it a try. Bit sick of Pedro Pascal, he's just everywhere. I hate when they do that with actors. I know it's because they film things in advance, so when they start releasing them, you tend to get an overwhelming presence of a particular actor. But God, Pedro Pascal is just everywhere. He's great in The Last of Us, but you know, it is kind of annoying seeing his face everywhere. Then we've got the new Avenger films coming out with RDJ doing his whole Doctor Doom thing, so hopefully that is going to change things around and turn it around. Blade obviously doesn't seem to be going anywhere. That's probably been cancelled at this point. Yeah, it just feels like Marvel don't really know what they're doing, and Kevin Feige's lost his way a little bit. It's a real shame. The shine's come off for me quite a lot. I didn't watch the Eternals either because that looked crap. So yeah, and then the TV stuff. I tried to watch the Captain America Falcon program. I think I got about halfway and got bored. Didn't watch the WandaVision because I just don't care about those characters. Yeah, so, and that's the other thing I hate about Marvel and all, the fact that they try and make everything a big universe, so you have to watch the TV shows to really understand all the story. And the same with the films, really. I mean, I'm not a fan of Thor. I don't like Thor as a character. I don't really give a shit about the film. I watched the first two, they were crap. Didn't watch the rest of them. And so when I got to Avengers, was it Endgame? I can't remember which one it was now. But Thor was missing his eye. And I'm sitting in the cinema going, where's Thor's eye gone? And it was because I've missed out, because I think it was in the third Thor film, he lost his eye or something. So it's like, whatever. Oh yeah, the other one that I watched as well, I'll get to that now actually. So I picked up Ant-Man and the Wasp because I really liked this film when I saw it at the cinema. I loved the first film. Watched this again, still really good. Loads of great action, really fun film. Love the first two. But yeah, I watched the third one. What a load of shit that was. Jesus Christ, that was a disappointment. That film. It was so crap. And I mean, I don't know anything about comics, I only know the films. But they had that like Krang from Turtles looking thing in there. What the fuck was that? That was just, yeah, awful film, absolute mess. So yeah, for me, I mean, you know, they failed with Ant-Man 3, they failed with Shang-Chi, they failed with Doctor Strange 2, and I love the first Doctor Strange. I've got it on Blu Ray, it's a fantastic film. I just feel like Marvel don't know where they're going at the moment. They don't know what directions they're going, and the films are just not good enough. You know, they were such high quality before, they were essential viewing, but now, no. It's not even that I've got comic book fatigue because DC are now rebooting and Superman's coming out and the trailer for that looks incredible. You know, I do prefer DC films, if I'm totally honest. I know they don't appeal to everyone, but you know, the Snyderverse for me was fantastic. I even like David Ayer's Suicide Squad, but yeah, at least DC's got some new stuff coming up that looks interesting. Marvel just, I don't know what's going on. So, still talking about Marvel, I did gap fill a bit here because I had a load of steelbooks years ago. Got rid of all my steelbooks because I didn't want them in there because I thought if I have steelbooks, I'm going to start collecting steelbooks. So I just went and stitched a lot of them, but I haven't refilled those gaps. So I picked these up because I really fancied watching them last year anyway. Captain America, First Avenger, still my favourite of the Captain America films. Brilliant film, loved it. The World War II setting, Hugo Weaving's Red Skull, I mean, what a great villain. God, I wish he'd come back, that would have been so cool. Yeah, I love this, the super serum, Steve getting his upgrade. It's just a great film. Richard Armitage as well as in this, you know, from Spooks, great actor. Only a small role, but nonetheless he's still in it. Yeah, definitely my favourite Captain America film. Then of course I got Winter Soldier. I managed to get, besides Civil War, I managed to get these two in the silver slipcase as well, which is quite nice. So yeah, Winter Soldier, 70s spy thriller, Robert Redford. Sebastian Stan's Winter Soldier is incredible. The story between Bucky and Steve is brilliant. The action's incredible. It's just a brilliant film. And then of course Civil War, which is a really solid film, really good, very enjoyable on its own. In the Captain America series is my least favourite. Well, no, actually now it's my third favourite because obviously Brave New World is at the bottom. Yeah, but in the Steve Rogers universe, this is my least favourite. God, it's confusing, isn't it? But yeah, I'm glad I've got them back and I've put them in the collection. Right, next up we're going to Alex Cross, so Morgan Freeman. So I have this first one I watched on Amazon one night, really enjoyed it, and that's Kiss the Girls with Ashley Judd. And I watched it, really had a great time with it. I thought I'd seen it, but I actually hadn't. What I had seen was Along Came a Spider. I'd seen this one before, so when I watched this, I was like, oh, okay, I remember all this. But yeah, Kiss the Girls was Kiss the Girls, brilliant film, Ashley Judd. Alex Cross is a detective, and he's investigating serial killers. Both films are the same thing. It's just a serial killer being investigated by Morgan Freeman. I mean, if that don't say you, I don't know what will. Yeah, really good films, good quality, story's great. You know, I think Kiss the Girls was my favourite of the two. I enjoyed that a lot more than Along Came a Spider, but both excellent films. Both American Blu-rays as well. Couldn't get them on PAL UK. I can't remember if it was the case that they're out of print or they just were never released. I don't know. But luckily the US releases are region free as well, so that was fantastic. So yeah, really happy to put those two in the collection. Then we're going back to Marvel again. I just realised I should have put them in some kind of order, but I just took them off the shelf. Right, so we got Spider-Man No Way Home. So this is a better quality Marvel film. All the Tom Holland films I've really enjoyed a lot. I think he has been a brilliant Spider-Man up until this point. He's in Civil War as well, he does a great job in that. No Way Home was brilliant. You've got Toby back, you've got Andrew back, you've got the cameos, you've got Doc Ock. I mean, you can't go wrong, and they really didn't. They absolutely nailed it. I've watched it a few times now. It's still really fun. The Tom Holland ones, they're quite hard to rank for me because I enjoy all three of them equally. I think they're all brilliant films. I've probably put, I never know what, I always get the subtitles wrong on this. So we've got No Way Home, Far From Home, and Homecoming, haven't we? And I can never remember which one's which. Is Homecoming the first one? I'll just put it this way. The second one is my favourite when he gets the black suit. That was a really cool film. And you've got Jake Gyllenhaal's villain. Love that film. I'm probably going to go, yeah, probably 2-1-3. It could easily go 2-3-1. But Michael Keaton in the first film is such a cool villain. Yeah, I don't know. All three films are brilliant, so recommend them anyway. They're absolutely excellent. Right, I'll just grab the last pile. Right, guys, okay, last pile of films. I've just got Blu-rays all over the place, just covered in them. So these are recent pickups in the last couple of months. Now, I've been very busy the last 6 months. I just haven't had time to sit down and watch these. I've seen them all before, but yeah, I want to refresh my memory and watch them again. So I picked up Real Steel with Hugh Jackman. It's wrapped up. I got it from Music Magpie. It's supposed to have been used, so this is probably resealed. You know, I doubt this is brand new. You never know. Yeah, Hugh Jackman, big robots. It's a very much Sunday afternoon family film, but it's really cool. Honestly, I can't remember that much about it, so I can't tell you too much, but I remember watching it and loving it, so I wanted to pick it up, give it another watch. Hopefully I'll really enjoy it again this time, but I remember it just being one of those really solid films. You know, there's nothing to complain about, it's just fun. And as I say, it's a Sunday afternoon, sit down with your family and just enjoy it kind of. Not The Mummy, that kind of, you know, that kind of, yeah. I was going to say vibe, but everyone's milking that word and I hate that word, so I'm not going to use that. Right, so next up, last couple of films are some James Bond titles. So yeah, the James Bond films, I didn't become a fan. I mean, obviously in the UK, Bond is on Christmas like every year. I've never been a fan of the films until I watched the Daniel Craig film, Casino Royale, back in 2006. That really got me hooked into the James Bond films that he was doing, and I watched all them and loved them. Well, apart from No Time to Die, of course. That was not a good film. But in 2018, I decided to go back and start watching some of the older films, and I ended up watching the Pierce Brosnan films, become a huge fan. He's now my favourite Bond. I think he's brilliant. Love those films. But I didn't go back any further to Tim Dalton and obviously Connery, Roger Moore and George Lazenby. But in 2023, I just thought to myself, sorry about that, I got distracted. So in 2023, I went back and I watched all of the other Bond films that I haven't seen yet. and I had a really good time. There's a lot of films. I mean, there's 25 in total. You know, I watched all the Sean Connerys, the George Lazenby on Her Majesty's Secret Service, all the Roger Moores, and the 2 Tim Daltons. The 2 Tim Dalton films are absolutely brilliant. They're more close to Pierce Brosnan and Daniel Craig, so that's probably why I enjoyed them, but they're excellent films. But yeah, recently I just picked up my favourite Sean Connery films. I still need to get my Roger Moores and my Tim Daltons, but I picked these Sean Connerys up. I've got to watch them and then I'll pick up the rest. So we've got Dr. No, the first James Bond film, and I'll be honest, when I went back and watched these in 23, I did think I weren't going to be able to go back this far and watch these films because they're so old from the 1960s that I thought they're going to be rough to watch. But no, actually, despite obviously the rear projection being a bit crap because of the age, Dr. No's a good film. I really enjoyed it. I thought Sean Connery was great in it. Yeah, they do overuse the Bond film in this Dr. No. Like every time he steps out of a car, walks into a building, goes through an airport, they just keep playing the theme tune. But you know, nonetheless, it's a really good film. Also, I can't remember his name, Jack somebody, I think I remember rightly, who played Felix Leiter. He's one of my favourite Felix Leiter actors, absolutely excellent. I also got From Russia with Love, really great, really enjoyed this one a lot. This is my second favourite of the Sean Connery films. I've played the video game a lot, and I think like Quantum of Solace, it really gives you a love for the film when you play the game as well, because you're so immersed in the storyline every time you play it. And I've only watched that film once, but I'm going to watch it again soon, and it was excellent. Really enjoyed that one. Then we got Goldfinger, one of the most well-known, you know, films in the Bond series. I think anyone who doesn't even watch Bond films like I used to be knows what Goldfinger is. Auric Goldfinger's a great villain, some really great moments. Him getting sucked out the window, yeah, beyond stupid, but nonetheless we'll go with it. That is the thing with the earlier Bond films. There's seriousness, but then there's some quite goofy moments in a lot of the films, especially when you get to Roger Moore. I mean, Jesus Christ, he goes off the rails a little bit sometimes. But yeah, Goldfinger, great film, really enjoyed it. And then my favourite Sean Connery film, You Only Live Twice. So this is interesting because generally I tend to gravitate more to the serious Bond, like your Daniel Craig, your Pierce Brosnan, your Tim Daltons. But when it came to Connery, this was my favourite. I had so much fun with this film. You know, Japanese Bond, Tanaka, the rooftop fight is incredible. Little Nelly, the little helicopter he has, the volcano. Donald Pleasant's version of Blofeld is my absolute favourite, with the cat and the eye and the bald head. It's just such a great image, and the big fight in the volcano at the end with the ninjas. You really can't go wrong with this film. It's absolutely brilliant. It's so good. And it was on TV at Christmas along with Majesty's Secret Service, and me and Dad sat down and watched You Only Live Twice together, which was a great memory. Yeah, it was brilliant. It was a really, really good film, and I'm glad I got it in the collection. So next I've got to pick up the Roger Moores, and then the Tim Daltons. I won't be picking up Majesty's Secret Service because I don't like the film. I like the beginning on the beach. I like the end with the battle. I don't like the middle. The rest of the film can jog on, but that yeah, the beginning on the beach is great, and the big fight at the end, the big gunfight, is superb. But other than that, I'm not a fan of the film. And just, you know, the Sean Connerys, I mean, most of them are great. There's only a couple that I'm not a fan of. Same with Roger Moore. You know, I mean, Octopussy, that annoyed me, man. That film has such a great opening sequence, and I thought, wow, what a great setup for a film. And then it just didn't go well at all. It just went off on a tangent. I was like, why is he not continuing with that? It would have been so much better. Oh well. But Roger Moore did have some really good films as well. So yeah, it's an interesting mixed bag when you go back and watch them now. You know, it would have been really cool if my dad had been a Bond fan and I'd have grown up watching them. You know, just like if he did like Star Wars, it would have been really cool because I'd have had all that nostalgia attached to them. But he did give me Star Trek and lots of other really great sci-fi, so can't complain. So there you go, that's the latest additions to the Blu-ray collection, guys. Any more films to pick up this year, of course I will make more Blu-ray pickup videos and let you know what I've got. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave your thoughts down below about all the films, of course, and the TV shows and the Alien interviews. As I say, there's a link in the description if you want to watch that. It's on YouTube. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.